Hope you guys have some tea and or a cup of water, maybe a pen and a piece of paper. Yeah. And I have enabled the chat. So if you have a question or if you can't hear me or if there's something going on, just let me know. You can just put it in the chat and then I should see it because we do have the technology. Okay, yeah. So we'll be good with that. I'm so excited. I'm so excited that you're here. Woo! Well, welcome. Welcome to How to Create Love, Power, and Prosperity. This is going to be our best year yet. I am feeling it. I did a prediction earlier, you know, like right around January 1st about what I was feeling about this year and the upcoming years. And I am feeling tremendous change in a very positive way. Even if it doesn't look like it right away, you know, not sometimes, birth can be messy. It can be painful. We're leaving the old and we're stepping into the new. And I am knowing that this class is going to help you and me and all the people in your life, your family and your friends. It's going to help them because you are going to be in such a powerful, positive place. Yes, yes. All right. So my name is Krista. If you didn't know that, I thought I'd just make a formal introduction. And I have been teaching meditation and spiritual practice probably for about 17 years. And I've been practicing now for 24, 25 years, practicing on my own. And when I started practicing, I like to tell this story, but I'm going to tell it with a twist because there are parts that I haven't shared before. When I started teaching meditation, or not teaching meditation, when I met my first spiritual teacher, I was in my early 20s. It was my first real job. And I was at my first real job working for what was, I don't think I can say the name of the company, but I was working for a company selling cookies and stocking the shelves and taking orders. I was in sales. And I absolutely hated it. I was living in Laguna Beach, beautiful place. I mean, if you can't be happy in Laguna Beach, there's something going on. And I mean, we had a view of the ocean and everything. And I was really unhappy with my boyfriend at the time. We just weren't getting along. We weren't moving forward in our relationship and we weren't a good match. And so I didn't have any tools or resources other than drinking a little bit too much wine, you know, and getting into fights. One time we were arguing over who would do the dishes, and the dishes sat in, this is how dysfunctional the dishes sat in the sink, and I just finally threw them away. And so we had to buy new dishes. This is the kind of tension that was going on in the home. And so Linda, my teacher, she worked at the grocery store. It used to be called Lucky Stores. I don't know if you remember Lucky Stores, but it used to be called Lucky Stores. And she was stocking the bread aisle. I walked in. They were my number one account. I walked in early in the morning, no makeup, hair sticking straight up on my head. And she just looks up at me and she says, "I'm going to teach you how to meditate." And I was like, oh, thank God. I didn't know that that was the thing that I wanted and I needed until she said it. And so we started working together and she taught me esoteric form of meditation, not straight mindfulness. We did guided meditation and we worked a lot in developing the chakras. We worked a lot on developing the spiritual centers so I could be more open to the positive universal energies. And she was very Eastern in her teaching because she had studied at an ashram for a long time, so more Eastern. And so she didn't tell me what to do necessarily or what to believe. I had to come to her with questions and then she would give me books and give me her insight. Well, one day I was watching her sitting in her chair. I was at her apartment making her dinner and I was watching her in her chair and she was reading a book and I could feel this peace coming off of her. It was palpable. I could feel her love of God. And looking back, I think I felt the love that God had for her as well. And I remember thinking, I want what she has, because I had never perceived that in a person before, to my knowledge. And so that started me on my path. The other thing is when I started doing the spiritual study, because I became hungry for healing, I did leave the boyfriend. I got a new job, better pay, but not totally better, you know, some of the same situations, because that's what we have a tendency to do when we're leaving one state and moving to another. If you do that unconsciously, moving from one state, like I'm going to leave the boyfriend, but I'm not going to figure out why I attracted that relationship in the first place, I will then find another relationship very similar. So it's that kind of thing. Anyway, so I'm in my apartment, living by myself for the first time, at this time in San Clemente, beautiful town. And I was reading a book by Thich Nhat Hanh about the Buddha. And there was a line that said, enlightenment is freedom from fear. And I thought, that's what I want. I want the peace. I want the love. I want the freedom from fear. And maybe you can appreciate it. I just felt afraid, not afraid to be alone necessarily, but there was just all this fear and angst. And I didn't know it was fear until I read that, right? Sometimes life is kind. It's always holding up a mirror to us. And life also, as time went on, taught me about power. And I'm going to tell you that story in a little while. So moving forward, I started teaching meditation quite by accident. I'll just give you the abbreviated version. My daughter, my oldest daughter, was about a year old, and I decided that I wanted to volunteer. I just had this yearning to connect. And I went to a homeless shelter for pregnant women, and it was called the Precious Life Shelter. And I asked if I could teach how to cook. So I'm a good cook, and maybe you've seen some of my cooking videos on Facebook. And so, you know, and I wanted to teach them about, you know, nutrition and all of those kinds of things. And they said, oh, we already have a cook. And they said, what else can you do? And I said, I think I can teach meditation. And so I did. I started teaching meditation and journaling to a group of about 10 women who were homeless and pregnant and living at this facility. And it was an amazing experience. It was life-changing for me and for them. There was one student in particular who would make these beautiful drawings in her journal and express herself visually. And it was just so profound to be able to connect. So that really started my journey as a spiritual teacher and as a meditation teacher. So before we get started and before we really move into the meat of this webinar, and like I said, get ready for transformation, because this class is not going to leave you where it found you. I am knowing that by the end of this class, the light bulb's going to go on. The thing that you need most is what you will receive by the end of this class. Okay? Isn't that awesome? This is what I'm feeling, and this is what I'm knowing for you and also for me. All of this stuff, it's so good. I'm burning incense. That's what the smoke is. Oh, it's a whole experience over here at my home office. So let's get centered, and I'm going to need your help, because we're going to be doing a centering, not just for us, but a centering for the planet, and we're going to be pulling in some energies, okay? Okay. I can feel the vibe. So feet flat on the floor. Go ahead and close your eyes and tilt your chin slightly down so that the back of your neck is nice and long. I'm going to get rid of this incense just for a second. It's a little bit too much. All right. So that the back of your neck is nice and long. Close your eyes and let's take 3 ha breaths together. So inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling, and inhaling one more time, taking it all the way down to the bottoms of your feet, and exhale. And in your mind's eye, imagine a golden light coming down into the crown of your head, moving all the way down the length of your spine and down the backs of your legs to the bottoms of your feet. Allow this beautiful golden light, healing, balancing energy to fill every cell of your beautiful body. Inhaling intensifies the light. Exhaling. Let's do that again. Inhaling, intensifying the light, intensifying the healing, the peace, the joy. And exhaling and just relaxing into that light. And again, inhaling. And exhaling, relaxing even deeper. And in your mind's eye, imagine that that light now is moving out through your heart center. You can imagine it moving into the computer or into the phone, whatever device you're watching this webinar on, but it's moving out. It's moving beyond the computer. It's moving into the world. This healing, balancing light. And we are knowing that our angels, our guides, that the divine presence is with us in this light, raising our vibration, raising the vibration of the planet. And we invite our angels in. We invite our master teacher guides. We are in communion with Source and with Spirit, with all the helpers from heaven. They're here with us right now. And we're sending our love and light and team of angels out to people who need them, people who have lost their homes, people who are confused or upset. We're sending them love and light. We're sending them healing, knowing that God is right there in the midst of them. Beautiful. Keeping your vibration high, taking a nice deep inhale. And again, sighing it out and very gently opening up your eyes, coming all the way back to the room, and give yourself a hug. Give yourself another hug. Give yourself a pat on the back. And you can always do that, bringing in the light. It's a very simple meditation, and it's one that really can help to ground you, especially if you're a visual person and your mind is going everywhere. You can do that, bring in that light so it can help to calm the mind. All right. So this is what I have to share with you. I'm so excited about manifesting, and actually not manifesting, about conscious co-creation, about you having the life that is the life that you want and the life that you deserve. Yes? So I want to talk about what every human being wants. Every human being, hopefully you can see this, wants love, security, and if you have a pen and a paper, you might want to write this down too. Love, security, and power. What does that mean? It means that we all want to feel self-love. We want to have good relationships. Security is financial security, security of your health and of your body. So it's that tangible grounding quality. And power is really the power to choose. Yes, the freedom to be who you are. It always was always interesting to me, people who are born into a certain family and then their life is determined for them. This is what you're going to be and this is what you're going to do. And when that happens, their power to choose is being usurped. Love, security, and health, security, health, and power is something that every human being wants and deserves, and it is your birthright and my birthright to have those things in abundance. So here's the issue. You live in two worlds. So if you've worked with me before, you've watched any of my videos, I oftentimes say you and I are the meeting place between heaven and earth. Like the shamans from the tribal traditions, the earth traditions, we live in two worlds. You may not know that consciously, and you may not know it all the time, but the fact is that you have one foot in spirit and you have one foot in material and consensus reality, material reality, consensus reality. So you are that meeting place between heaven and earth. So we have earth here. That is a fantastic circle if you use your imagination. So we have material reality, and then we have spiritual reality. And this is the insight that I had that I really wanted to share about material reality and spiritual reality. I used to teach that the ego wants love, power, and security. And Source came to me and said, no, this is everyone's birthright to have love, power, and security. The problem is where we look for these attributes. So if I want love and I'm stuck in material reality, then I'm going to, when I look for love, I'm going to look for the need to be heard, the need to be validated. I'm going to be needy. I'm going to need my relationships and my external environment to give me self-confidence. This is a state of imbalance. If we're looking for love, power, and prosperity in material reality, this is a state of wanting and craving, not wanting like, I want to manifest I had this dream and, you know, the universe is speaking to me and I know what my path is. I know what I'm here to do. And I am so excited about manifesting that thing. I want to see it come into creation and being really excited about it versus wanting because I don't have. And you know what I mean by that, right? So it's that yearning because something is missing. That is a state of imbalance. I am needing, I am wanting, I am yearning for the thing that I don't have. And so it keeps us stuck in material reality. And here's the other thing. And I'm going to tell you this, and then I'm going to follow it up at the end of the class because this is so important. If you do not own your own mind, if you are stuck in material reality, if you are seeking love, power, and security in the world on its own, you are subject to manipulation. You are subject to what the standard of beauty is. You know, I remember when I was growing up, you didn't see mixed race people on the television. And when you saw women, I mean, it was the 70s, right? When you see women on television and movies, they weren't that bright. I mean, they were just sexual objects. And you watch movies from the 40s and the women are so smart and so strong. And then all of a sudden there was this change in the 70s where you didn't see that. And so we're getting these messages. And then if you're African American or, you know, or any other minority, you were not well represented. I think we can all agree on that. So the television is telling us about what beauty is, about what power is, and about what security is. And if you are stuck in material reality, you will be hypnotized by that. I know it sounds really kind of out there, and I've been teaching this for a while. Without consciousness, without conscious awareness, there is no free will. Free will is a gift that we use to choose to invite spirit, whatever spirit is for you, into our life and to have healing and balance. But if we are lost in material reality, we are disconnected from that and we are open to hypnotism. We are open to manipulation. We are open to narcissistic personalities coming into our life. And I'm not talking about mind control or anything like that necessarily, but we are buying into somebody else's story. Yes? Take a deep breath. I told you this is like such good stuff. And sigh it out. It's good. I'm going to have some tea. Hope you're having tea too. If you join me in the morning at 6, we drink coffee. I had a huge pot of coffee this morning. It was quite delicious. My sweetheart roasts his own coffee, so I'm very spoiled. Anyway, so if you are in material reality and you want security, right? The security in material reality, we have love and we have security. What does that look like? That you need to be dependent on someone. I had a client once who was having a really difficult time just paying her bills and being financially responsible. And after a few sessions, what we came to realize is that her father, who loved her very much, told her, honey, you don't have to worry about going to college because you're going to get married and your husband's going to take care of you. And so there was this belief that something outside of her was going to provide her security. And it was very confusing, especially in a time where we do have more freedom to choose what we want to do. And, you know, more and more women are working and being the head of household. So where is our security in our health? You know, there's a lot going on with health right now, a lot of addiction. I wrote about this earlier today that 50, you know, anybody, the number one killer of anyone under 50, the majority of people under 50, is addiction, overdose. The medical establishment, and I am not anti-medical establishment. I love my doctor. I go to the doctor every year. And a lot of the messages that we receive on the television and in books and on social media about our health is working that hypnotism when you're stuck in material reality. I'm not suggesting you do this. I'm talking about myself. I don't get flu shots. When somebody says that there's a flu going around and they're buying into that, I put myself in a circle of light and I just focus on something else. I don't get sick. I have other issues. I'm not going to pretend like I don't. But that is one where I feel very, very confident about the security I feel in my body. And I feel that way because I'm not buying in to the messages that we're receiving that you are not in control of your health and that you are not in control of your own prosperity. Yes? Take a deep breath. Sigh it out. This is good stuff, right? And what about power? Oh my goodness. Power over is what we're seeing in material reality. And I'm not going to go on and on about the political situation. I just want to use it as an example. It is clear by the actions of all sides, I'm not saying one or the other, that their consciousness is stuck in a power struggle, that their consciousness is stuck in win at all costs. Their consciousness is stuck in, smiting your enemy and winning the race, the arms race or whatever, the financial race, whatever that is. That power struggle without being grounded in source, if you're grounded in source, you don't have the power struggle, is a state of imbalance. So that I'm very competitive. I love to play sports. It's not an indictment of competition. What I'm saying is it is an indictment of needing to win at all costs, even if it's lying, cheating, doing whatever so that I can get ahead. Yes, that is a state of imbalance. And I don't care how much money you have. This state of imbalance is a place of non-peace. So my mother and I used to have this discussion because she believed that the man that she was working for at the time was in this state of consciousness. He was unethical. He lied. He was doing lots of really illegal things within the company. And from her perspective, she goes, but he has everything, and that's not fair. Well, first of all, the universe isn't about fairness. The sun shines on the sinner and the saint, number one. Number two, you do create what you expect, okay? And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But number three, I can guarantee that what was driving the need to cheat, to lie, to be subversive was not coming from peace. If you have peace, You don't do those things. The lie is that if I have all of this and I get it in material reality, then I'm going to have peace, because ultimately underneath this, love, power, and security is the desire for peace, the freedom from fear. That's really what we're wanting. We're wanting that feeling of, finally I can rest, that certitude. And so if someone is lying, cheating, doing all of these things, they are not coming, they do not have inner peace. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. Does this make sense? I hope so. Okay, take a deep breath and sigh it out. So good. All right. And what about the spiritual? So this is where Spirit was really talking to me. Spirit was talking to me about the spiritual side, the love, security, and power on the spiritual side. Now, this is what happens. If you're so far into the spiritual, you are not grounded. That need, it's like, I don't have a need to have great relationships necessarily. Everything just kind of collapses into this place of unity. Eckhart Tolle, who is one of my favorite teachers, and one tape that I was listening to of his, said that he lost the balance when he first became awake to himself. And he said, I didn't have the balance. Now I'm moving back into balance. And we're going to talk more about balance in a moment. Doreen Virtue, years ago, I'm not sure if it's still true, she wrote that she couldn't drive. She's so altered all the time and connected to these other worlds that she can't drive the car and her husband has to drive her everywhere. That doesn't sound like freedom to me. There are other mystics and saints that won't eat. That's not why we're here, most of us. Some of us may have a very deep spiritual calling to be in that state of awareness for long periods of time. That's their dharma, is to pray for everyone. But the vast majority of us, myself included, this is not what we are made for. We are not made to not feed ourselves and to be in a state of bliss or a state of denial and be in complete and total, woo-woo land. I love the woo, but I don't want to be in woo-woo land all the time, because I am not fulfilling my mission as being the meeting place between heaven and earth. Yes? Take a deep breath, sigh it out. So we don't want to be too far on either side. So where do we want to be? We want to be in the center. We want to be here. We want to be where we want to realize our path as being material and spiritual. Yes, healthy, beautiful relationships with my children, with my sweetheart, with myself, with whomever I choose to be with. Yes, yes. That is a wonderful thing to have really good supportive friendships where you feel safe and you feel loved and you feel nurtured. But the only way that you're going to manifest that, or you're going to co-create it, is if you are already in a state of consciousness that will allow that to be. I'll give you an example. I was talking to my teenage daughter today about being open. And I was in a lot of pain when I was a teenager, and for a lot of years after being a teenager. And one time when I was in college, I was hanging out with these sorority sisters, and they were really, really nice. And eventually they said, we want you to join our sorority. You don't have to rush. You don't have to do any of that. And for some reason, I just was like, oh, I can't do that. I didn't have this perception of myself that I can't be in a sorority. I don't want to be and forgive me, I don't want to be your token Black person, in your sorority. And I had all of this drama around it. And I think back to that time, because I was pretty insulting when they made this generous overture, because before then we were having fun and we were hanging out. We were little sisters for a fraternity, and it was a really wonderful time. And then I just didn't avail myself of that generosity. And I would think about that, all things being perfect, and think about how many times I missed opportunities. God is generous. Opportunities are all around you and they're forever coming. They're coming all of the time, but we have to be in a state of consciousness in order to receive them. So when we're in the center, beautiful relationships, we're in the center, we have financial security, we have prosperity. And I want to say this about financial security and prosperity. It's very individual. Having the big house up on the hill or having, the multi-million-dollar home, that's ego. That's over here, unless it's, that's just what happens because it comes from your internal abundance. There's nothing wrong with that. But, it could be that your material abundance, your home is just a beautiful home for you and your sweetheart or you and your dog. I met this man he's like, I am so content with my dog. I don't really need a relationship. And is that okay? I'm like, as long as you're happy, that seems okay to me. And he just was content with going out in nature and doing his fishing. He had so much security and a loving relationship from his animal that he didn't feel the need to go out wanting, I have to acquire this. And your health, yes, listening to the body. Having fun, indulging where you need to indulge and listening to the body and listening to your digestion. And there's something so beautiful about, we live in such an abundant universe, which is one of the reasons why I love cooking, because I love seeing this abundance. I mean, the universe is literally sprouting food out of the ground for us to eat. Giving us flowers to smell and to enjoy. And so that's where we come into center. And as far as power is concerned, freedom, the freedom to be the person that you are right now, the person that you are in your heart, and not having to make excuses for being a little messy or being a neat freak or thinking this way or thinking that way, or wanting to be a stay-at-home parent or wanting to be CEO if that's what you're driven to do, or wanting to be a farmer. Having the power to choose is us being in the center. Yes, so it is a meeting place between heaven and earth. Everybody take a nice deep breath and sigh it out. I'm just checking my bullet points because I want to make sure that you get the full experience here. So how do you come to center? Would it be terrible if I'm like, all right, I'm out? I'm not going to tell you how to do that. So how do you come to center? And I'm going to see if I can share my screen with you because we do have the technology. Let's see. And I'm going to share this screen. Those are my emails. Okay. So you should be able to see my screen now. Actually, I'm going to move it. I'm going to move the screen here. It will look better and I won't have to look away. Look away. There we go. So how do you come to center? There's 3 steps you have to do, okay? So the first step is to be aware and honest with yourself. So take a deep breath, sigh it out. And if you want, if you email me, I'll send this to you. I'll send you this sheet of paper. So you can reach me at info@myjoycode.com and I'll send it to you. So you want to be aware and honest with yourself. So you want to take a spiritual material inventory. Ask yourself, am I where I thought I would be in my life? It's okay if you're not, and it's great if you are. There's no right or wrong, but you want to, am I where I thought I would be at this point in my life? I know for a long time that was, the answer was no for me. Do I like myself? Do I like the person that I am, the person that I've become? Because You are your own creation. Oftentimes I would tell my children, not all the time, because if you harp on them, they stop listening. And I let them know that, you're in charge of the person that you're becoming. I'm your mother, but who you become and who you are is totally up to you. So, and it goes for you, not just for our kids, but you are totally in charge of who you become. So do you like yourself? Do you love yourself? You might like aspects. It's like, but I really don't love myself. I lived with self-loathing for a long, long time. And it is such a toxic feeling to be so divided from the source of yourself. Or am I putting on a brave face? Am I putting on a brave face? Am I pretending? I know a lot of women, especially, it's like, I want to make everything okay for everyone else. I don't want to be, too needy. So am I putting on a brave face? And do I want the circumstances that I'm in? Do I really want the things that I have in my life? Is this relationship satisfying? Is this career satisfying? Am I satisfied even with the clothes that I wear? Do I feel satisfied in the life that I have? Awareness is always the first step to spiritual revelation and material balance, because we have to be honest with ourselves about where we are. So if you imagine that you're on you want to go to San Francisco, you got to know where you are in order to plot your course, right? So this is like your magical GPS. So I want you to really contemplate those questions for yourself. Then the next step is, once I know where I am, I'm going to vision where I want to go. So take a deep breath, because this is really powerful. Inhale all the way down to your toes, and exhale. You are going to vision your good. Now, I can already feel some of us, I can feel someone for sure saying, I don't know what it is that I want. And that's okay, because what you're going to do then, if that's the case, is to take an inventory of the things that you don't want, where you can work in the negative, okay? If that is the case, that will help you create a vision of what you do want. Most of us are pretty clear on what we don't like. So anyway, so you can do that. Vision your ideal outcome. I found my journal from when I was going through my divorce. So in 2014, I filed for a divorce. I have 2 children, very painful. Don't let even in the best circumstances, we get along really well now. My ex-husband and I are co-parenting, and we talk and we text and all of that. But going through that period wasn't like that. It was very, very challenging. So I filed in 2014, and then that's July, and I moved in with my mother, because we tried the whole living together thing that people have to do nowadays when they're getting a divorce. It was a disaster. And so I moved in with my parents, who lived down the street, at the end of October. By the end of November 29th, my mother had died. She had an accident and she was gone. And so we have the kids, we're going through a divorce, the whole family is in an uproar. And so I'm reading this journal from that time. I found it when we were cleaning out our garage. And this was like last week that I found this. And I feel so sorry for myself when I read it, because I was not totally together. I thought I was together, but reading that, it's like, you are not together. And the one thing that was consistent is I knew that this was going to work out in my favor. I knew I was on the right path. I knew that my ex-husband and I were going to be friends, and that all is well. It didn't feel like that at the time. Every day I had to declare my good. Every day I didn't want to get up out of bed. I had to think about my children. I had to think about my good, and I declared it. And I know, I can feel it right now. Someone is going through a really, really hard time. I understand. Declare your good. You're going through a dark period, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to keep moving forward. Don't get stuck. Or if you get stuck, don't stay there. keep moving forward. Keep declaring your good. Keep knowing your prosperity. Keep knowing that you are the meeting place between heaven and earth, and move forward. I promise you, this is the law of the universe. If you continue to focus on your good will arrive. It will. And this situation that you're going through is temporary. So take a deep breath. Sigh it out. Aware and honest. I got to know where I am. I want to know where I'm going. I am going to declare my good. And then I want you to notice if there's anything that is saying, that's not happening, right? If there's something inside that's telling you no, that is just part of the conditioned thinking. So again, you're going to tell the truth to the lie. That lie is keeping you from feeling the presence of God. Because I was thinking about why there's so much negativity, that we see with like the opioid addiction, and, our precious babies are, killing themselves, our teenagers, and all of the negative stuff that's going on. And I really know it's because we are not operating from our center. We're not operating from this center. When we operate from our center, then it doesn't occur to us to harm ourselves or someone else. We don't have to be totally into the realm of the spirit in order to feel so good and so balanced and so whole. Doesn't mean bad things won't happen. It doesn't mean that life isn't going to continue to evolve, and you'll be able to come back into that place of center, right? And from there, so anyways, I lost my train of thought for a moment there. So when we come back into center, that's where all of our good comes from. So this is the place that we tell the truth to the lie. Yes? We're going to tell the truth to the lie. It's just conditioned thinking, and there's other work that can be done. Okay? Everybody take a deep breath. And sigh it out. Yes. So this is your homework. Like I said, let me stop sharing here. Good. So this is your homework, is to go through that list, take your inventory, find where you're not in the center, where you're not being that meeting place. Create your vision, tell the truth to declare your good. And if there's anything in you that is saying no, just know that that is just old conditioning that is coming into your experience. It's not true. It's just old conditioning, and it can be overcome. Yes? Okay. We're doing pretty good on time. I promised that I was going to make a big announcement, and I'm going to do that now, and then we're going to finish with the centering. Does that sound good? I hope so. I hope so. So, Joy Code. And like I said, I've been teaching for a long, long time. And I've taught hundreds of people. If you go to my website, you can see testimonials and stuff. And I'm not bragging. It's just, people get really great results when they work with me and when they do their homework and they do their spiritual practice. And so after my mother had passed and I was working in my marketing company, I was still doing a little bit of the spiritual stuff on the side, but it was never a full-time job, I guess, or a full-time pursuit. My personal practice was always, it's a 24/7 pursuit, my personal spiritual practice. But the trying to create a full-time practice was not really in my mind. But, when you go through a big transition, when you have a lot of grief and a lot of loss, it does cause you to rethink what's going on in your life. And I just didn't feel satisfied. And so I'm in meditation and I'm open. My hands are open and I'm just, speak, Lord, speak. And I hear Joy Code, right? And I thought, I love that. And so the beginning of last year, I decided I'm going to launch Joy Code. Then later on, I'm in meditation and I thought, how is this going to go? Is it just going to be one-on-one coaching? How is it going to go? This is being in the center, not being too far into the spiritual. And I hear mentorship, membership. And I'm like, I love it. I love doing this online, this kind of teaching. And then this is the exciting part. Something still isn't feeling right, because it's like I get the information, I'm like, okay, let's do this. And I sit down and I said, what is this membership going to be? You tell me if it's selling widgets, if I'm selling, coffee that Mark is roasting, I'll do that. And so I had a vision. I had a vision of my guides, and I'm in a market sitting down, like an outdoor market, and they're giving me fish, like a huge fish, and I'm giving somebody else the fish, and they're giving me a fish, and I'm giving someone else, and passing the fish off. And what they said was, you have been giving people a fish, which helps them to eat for a period of time. But if you teach a man, a woman, how to fish, they will eat for a lifetime. And so they said to me that you're going to teach them how you do what you do. You're going to teach them how to fish. You're going to teach them about spiritual and intuitive development. And at first I was a little like, really? I love the image. And I thought about it and I said, okay. And then as the universe does, right? The universe talks to us in sign and symbol, not just sitting in meditation. And it makes absolute sense to have an online membership. Actually, it's a mentorship, a spiritual mentorship, where we will work every week together like this, and it'll be a little bit more interactive. So that you can develop your spiritual gifts, so that the peace, the power, the prosperity, the love that you really want, you can connect right in. You can have those experiences of connecting with your guides. Without my spiritual practice, I don't know where I'd be right now. I was bulimic. I had, all the self-loathing. It is only by the grace of this practice, of the things that my first teacher taught me. And then I had other teachers after. I worked with shamanic practitioners. I worked with the Buddhist nuns. I've worked with a lot of other people in metaphysics. And then I also went back to school to study religion. And I've done my own study and my own meditation and getting my trainer certificate in NLP and doing all of these things. And it was through the spiritual practitioners that I had the most growth, when I was opening up to the universe and allowing the universe, God, I call it God, you can call it source divine, allowing the divine in to help me heal. So it's a feedback thing, okay? It's not so far off into the spiritual that I'm just sitting in meditation and I'm being healed. We live in the center. That's where things are going to happen. And so the energy comes in, my awareness comes up about my relationships, as an example. And my relationship, the state of my relationship, is a reflection of what's going on the inside. Now, you've heard me talk about this before, but I haven't really talked about this third energy, which is the divine awareness. It's not just you doing mindset stuff, which there's a lot of mindset and mental training. That is still too far in the material. It's not just you and me doing law of attraction, sitting in a room waiting for Mr. Right or Miss Right or $1 million to pop into our laps. That's not what this is. It's coming into the center. Yes? And so this is where we want to be. So it's the divine that gives us the inspiration, but we have to be open to it. So when I was talking about telling the truth to the lie, what happens is that the divine helps to clear some of the stuff out, or the spiritual practice helps to clear out some of the debris. It's like tuning into an old radio, right? And tuning it in so you can hear it. You know, you're driving through the desert and you lose the station, and then you want to find a new station. That's what we're doing. We're tuning in. I'm going to teach you what I learned, because over time, and each time something would come up, there was another spiritual part that was revealed to me to help me to move on. So again, it's not just mindset stuff. You know, you can't just fix your mindset. That's fine. It's temporary. You'll always have to fix your mindset. It is allowing the power and the presence within you to help you do the work, so you're not always worried about your mindset. Yes? It's not being so far off into the spiritual that you can't drive your car because you're altered, and you're not living in the present, and you're not living in the life that you're meant to live. And so that's what this mentorship is. And I had to write down some stuff because I'm going to launch it in February. So, and I'm putting it together now. You're going to work on opening your spiritual and intuitive gifts so that you can be in the fullness of the presence of God, source, divine, nature, whatever you want to call it. I am going to show you how to do this. We're going to take an inventory. You're going to learn how to master your mind, master what's going on inside you. Stuff comes up for me, but I'm pretty aware of where it's coming from and what it's about, and able to clear up my intention. I'm going to teach you how to do that. Not me just telling you what is going on. I'm going to teach you how. You're going to learn to hear the voice of the divine and connect with your guides. Or depending what your spiritual gift is, you might be a seer, you might be a feeler, you might just know things, you might dream. I'm going to help you work that out, to trust that gift so that you can connect with the divine presence. I'm going to help you get your ego out of the way so you recognize the way your ego comes in. Yes? Because it's a little different for everyone. You're going to deepen your power to declare. Remember that I'm going to declare. You're going to deepen your power to declare health, wealth, and abundant love over yourself and over the people in your life. You're going to learn about all the spiritual bodies. We're not just a physical body. We're a spiritual body. We're a mental body. We're an emotional body. And I'm going to teach you mastery, self-mastery. We're going to work on the chakras. We're going to bring health and well-being to all areas of your life. Right? It's so good. It's so good. And, you know, this is great for anybody to take this class, but I really, or in class, the membership, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it in a moment. I really developed this, or it's being developed because there's still some new information coming in for people who, like me, are secular, in the sense that maybe you don't belong to a church or to a spiritual center. You really want to do this study on your own. You want to have a direct connection. For a long time, I didn't fit in anywhere. I didn't like being told what to do. I didn't like this idea that, you know, God was a man and really, really angry with me all the time, that I was never good enough, that just I already had a lot of issues. I didn't need that on top of the issues that I had. So this is really for people who really are eager to build community and to also keep their autonomy and their independence. So there's no, you know, becoming anything other than who you are meant to be. So, like I said, I'm launching it in in February. And it's still being developed. So there's nothing to sign up for right now. I couldn't wait to make the announcement, and I just wanted to share that with you. It's a Joy Code Spiritual Mentorship Program. It's going to be a year long, and it's going to be really inexpensive. It's like under $100 a month, and not like $97. it's under, I want as many people that are interested to be able to afford to take this. And anyway, so that is my big announce, Spiritual Joy Code Spiritual Mentorship. You are going to learn how to connect with your source so that you can be your absolute best self. I'm going to teach you the things that I know how to do and that have helped me to heal with and be in connection with my source. Yes? Yes, it's so exciting. So if you are interested, I want you to send me an email, info@myjoycode.com. I already put it up on the screen when we were sharing the screen. So I want you to go ahead and send me an email and say, yeah, I'm interested. And then I'll send you some more information as we get closer. Okay. I'm so glad you're here. All right. Let's finish with another centering. You have had a lot of, I know you've gotten a big download, but just let it all settle in. Don't worry about picking it apart or anything. Allow the spirit within you to begin to figure this out. We don't have to overthink things. Yes? And just know for yourself that you are the meeting place between heaven and earth. That you are a divine idea in the mind of the divine. That the divine had to move heaven and earth literally for you to be here. Do you have any idea how many generations and generations and generations and stars had to explode for you to be alive in this moment? There is a plan for your life. And I am feeling that this is the year that it's going to come to fruition into your own consciousness. And then you'll be living your joy. Yeah? Feet flat on the floor, eyes closed, chin tilted slightly down so that the back of your neck is nice and long. And let's just take 3 hot breaths together again, just so we can unite our energy. So inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. Relaxing your face, relaxing your shoulders away from your ears, feeling your beautiful body in the chair, feeling the breath in the body. Feeling the gentle rise and fall of the chest. Reconnecting with the light, that beautiful light. And let's just be in gratitude. Thankful for the life that you are. Knowing that whatever circumstances you are in, that it is all for a purpose, for a divine purpose, that you're getting ready for more and more abundance, more love, more joy, more power, more prosperity. And just breathe into that knowing. Breathe into the enthusiasm and the optimism. Just breathe. Just be. Taking a nice, deep, conscious breath. Sighing it out. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.